Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron.
You're going to acknowledge me.
What's going on, guys? It is Friday, November 21st, 2025. It is time for the mailbag. And I hope everybody had a great week. Getting to the weekend, most of us, although not all of us, are off for the weekend. And it's getting late in November because it's Survivor Series time. Next week is Survivor Series. It's Thanksgiving. If you're big into football, you're right in the heart of the football season, making a sprint to the end of your team potentially in the playoffs. And I will say this has been a very strange NFL season with the injuries, and the typical teams that you expect to see are nowhere to be found. And it's a very weird NFL season, but we're here to talk wrestling. We're here to talk wrestling. We're here to talk about what's coming up, here from you guys, hear from the listeners about what your thoughts are and where we are going in what is shaping up to be a huge week for WWE. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are both scheduled to be in Oklahoma City on Monday Night Raw, which really does surprise me because I had originally thought, good luck for Oklahoma City. You guys kind of got screwed with the star power, but no, it does appear that both are going to be live. And that makes sense with the go-home version of Raw coming to us on Monday. You want to build it as quickly and as hot as you can, as quickly as you can for War Games the following Saturday. So we've got a huge week in WWE. And I know a lot of people are, not all about a lot, some are complaining about we're getting Brock and Roman again. Well, it's not one-on-one, first of all. They're just the biggest names on their teams, sure. But there's the history there. The history between them is unparalleled. Starting at WrestleMania 31 and going until now, 11 years later, 12 years later, whatever it is. We've got a rivalry that is a little bit reignited, and we have a hell of a star-studded men's lineup, and the women, to be fair, too. The women have a hell of a star-studded lineup. We have news of Nikki Bella and Brie Bella now on her way back, potentially, something that no one asked for, of course, except the Bellas, who continue to be high on their own supply. You guys know how I feel about it. But before we get started, I want to thank you for joining us here. We are going to get going in a moment. I would just want to give you the opportunity, if you want to go ad-free. You've already heard a lot of ads. If you hit play, you either skip through them or you rolled your eyes. Either way, you don't have to do either of those things if you join us on Patreon, patreon.com/WWE Podcast, and also go to Apple or on Spotify. Those all have ad-free feeds as well. Follow us on X at @wrestling_audio, although that may be changing soon. Just search for the WWE Podcast. We're right there. All righty. So let's talk to you, hear from you. And we are going to start with Kay from Toronto. Kay says, SmackDown, a bit underwhelming, but some decent stuff. The Charlotte segment was good. I knew it wasn't going to last long. Ryder's a waste, but I love his wife. I love Drew joining the Vision. Heyman is up to his best hijinks. The Vision are a scary force. Yeah, they are. It shows you that they had no intention of dissolving the Vision upon Seth Rollins' injury, which is also a very good thing. It wasn't all about Seth. It never was really about Seth. Seth is the biggest star on that team, that group, but he was there to help build the next generation. That's the whole purpose of that group. And it was even said that these are the two guys that are the future, and they so far have been. We'll see if that holds, but it is good to see that they have brought in reinforcements in a big way. Now, is Drew officially a part of the Vision? I don't think so. I don't need Drew a part of it, honestly. He's better off on his own. Logan Paul's a great fit. Drew is kind of beyond that. He belongs, honestly, as world champion, but it also sets up for a Seth return. And what is he going to do? How is he going to react? What's he going to say? Because I think upon return, Seth should be a babyface. We'll see if that changes. He's got a long way to go, probably 4 months or so at minimum before he returns. We're all aiming for that WrestleMania. I'm sure he is eyeing WrestleMania 42 as well for a return. So fingers crossed. On Raw, one of the best Raws in years. Opening was Cena. and company. The Dumb Judgment Day was good. Ray and Sheamus worked perfectly. Ziggler, no. He's in the same boat for me. Cody and Jay, barf and annoying. Filler, 0% he was going to beat Solo. Ziggler, I mean, it's a fun pop because he is a throwback to a time where WWE was, faltering a bit. Vince was still in charge. It was a different landscape. But Ziggler here's the thing. I think I've kind of taken down my expectations for when they say mystery opponent, instead of thinking like these kind of fringe guys that had their moment, but never were really the focal point of the company. That's kind of where they're looking. I was thinking bigger, like Jericho or Edge. I need to taper down my expectations of when they say mystery opponent. They just mean guys that they used to bring in that were popular at one point, and they're going to get a good pop, but they're going to lose. Like, that's what they meant by mystery opponent. Absolutely loved Maxine winning the Intercontinental title. She needed it. Becky does not. Still think Jessica Carr is going to play a bigger part with AJ. I find this Becky lawsuit angle quite assuming. Don't expect Maxine to be champ long. Lyra, then a Bayley turn. That's possible with Bayley. Bayley, honestly, though, has been a heel and was a heel for so long that the babyface turn was a refreshing change of pace for her. I wouldn't change her back personally, but the Jessica Carr thing is seemingly manifesting into a Jessica Carr potentially in-ring debut or one-off. It's getting interesting. No doubt. All right. The War Games standoff was brilliant. Sets up for a great match. The Vision should win, but I can see some funny business in the air. Yes, of course, my predictions, guys, coming to you next week. Because I'm honestly not just trying to hook you for next week. That's part of it. But also, I really don't know for sure who I think is going to win and where. And we'll know if there's any changes for Raw and SmackDown, if anything changes for the card. Final thoughts. I came up with a weird program that could work. Why not Chelsea versus Nikki Cross? Green and her great comedic persona would kill this with Nikki along doing a spooky, weird stalker, and both are very good. Silly, I know, but would inject a story that could go on for a while. As always, thank you to you and Amanda for doing a great job. Cheers. Well, thank you, Kay. Well, I'll say this. Nikki's not doing anything. Nikki Cross has done absolutely nothing other than wear a bunch of makeup upon her return a couple of years ago. Remember where they murdered Chad Gable backstage? He was actually killed. Remember that? She has done nothing other than just be the female presence to ward off any female opponents. But she's done nothing. I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, I had no objections. It gives her more to do than just be a part of playing a spooky part or wearing a bunch of makeup every week. Definitely. All righty, let's go to DJ. And DJ says, I have attached some of the photos I've taken from my live in-person viewing of the NXT Gold Rush this past Tuesday. Cool. I'll take a look. And interesting stats. This coming Survivor Series will be Brock Lesnar's first ever War Games match. A rarity of sorts that WWE had the youngest winner in Maxine Dupree and the oldest winner of John Cena win their individual Intercontinental Championships in the same month. And Io Sky will be appearing in her 8th War Games match. She is currently 6-1 in War Games matches. See, DJ, thank you for this. I don't know where you're pulling these stats from. These are things that no one ever probably realized. I mean, maybe you got it from X, or you just know these things because you know more wrestling than most people. But those stats are very interesting. Those bring context to the characters, to the matches, and give meaning to it. I hope the announcers also maybe take note of this. Number 3. I totally forgot that the Wyatt Six are tag team champions on SmackDown. Do you think at some point before the year ends, they will drop the tag team titles to the MFTs? There needs to be some sort of change with the Wyatt Six because they are still living on the legacy of Bray. And to me, they don't have a clear identity as to who they are and what they want to do. That's been the problem since day one. We just don't know who they are. Beyond the fact that they just, like you said, they love Bray. They're living off Bray. They have a similar entrance to Bray. It's like, okay, but what else? You cannot live on the back of another and expect to thrive. That will get you into the limelight. It'll get people's attention, but it doesn't let them stick around because what they'll remember is, cool, but you're not that person. Like, so who are you? That's been the problem. They don't do any development for them. There's no character development for the Wyatt Six. Their whole identity is, we love Bray. We love Bray. We love Bray. Okay, well, Bray's dead. All right, sadly. And we understand this is a tribute group, but you guys need identities. You need a voice. You have none of that. So my point is, to end this, I think the MFTs do capture the belts, and honestly, they'd be more interesting than the Wyatt Six as champions. They actually at least have something going on. They have a little momentum with Solo. So I hope they drop the belts because they're not doing anything with them. Mark my words, the next time the Wyatt Six defend their tag team titles, they're dropping them. All right. Bonus here to mention, it seems like WWE Creative is using a familiar playbook of the typical can the two coexist when it comes to Rhea and Charlotte for this year's War Games. Kind of similar to last year's War Games with the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns dynamic. All right, thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to you as well. And I'm looking at your screenshots. Yeah, very, very good, DJ. The NXT Golfers, man. I love the merch. What do you got here? What's this shirt here? I'm looking at it. Is that not a shirt? Is that a sweatshirt? I'm not sure. I can't tell. It's too close. I'm not sure if it's a sweatshirt or a towel. NXT Gold Rush, and very cool. See, I like this stuff. I like this stuff. Your seats are pretty damn good too. It looks like you're like 7-8 rows back. Oh man. Nothing like that intimate setting. Even if it's not mainstream, if there's not thousands of people there is something special about being in a smaller arena and being closer to the talent. You feel like more of a part of it. So very good. Thank you so much, DJ. All righty. Well, let's go. Do I have any other emails? Do I dare say that's it? Now, this could be a very brief one. So with that said, let's go to Mr. DJ Kuzmo and give us the Joe Hendry report. This could be the shortest mailbag ever, but that's okay. It's a Friday. We've all got things to do. So let's hear what he has to say.
This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Record you live on a Wednesday morning, and you know what time it is. It's time to
say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right, folks. Joe Hendry is his name as I take you to my 71st episode of the Judge Report. And like always, coming to you live from an undisclosed location. Now, before I take you to what took place last night at NXT Gold Rush in New York City as I was there live and in person, I want to mention two quick things. The first thing is in regards to Joe Hendry, and the second thing is in regards to Mike Santana and a very disturbing news that took place on TNA Pro Wrestling last week about Mike Santana and the title picture. But first, let's talk about Joe Hendry. Last week, it was reported by Fightful Select and a couple of other sources that Joe Hendry has finally been signed to WWE. And like I said last week on the Joe Hendry Report, this is great news. I've been waiting for this moment for the longest while. Since I first heard about Joe Hendry a couple of years ago, this guy has potential to be a big star in WWE. And I thought of three reasons. I thought of three possible reasons of why WWE signed Joe Hendry. The first reason is that Joe Hendry has the it factor. He has the song. He has the charisma. Everywhere on the internet, Joe Hendry is being talked about. Whether it's in TNA, whether it's in NXT, the guy is very well known on the internet. And then, of course, over the world. In his hometown of Scotland and in other parts of the world, people are now getting to know about Joe Hendry. So Joe Hendry having that it factor, the potential for that it factor to even climb to be a future main eventer for the next 5 to 8, maybe 10 years from now, there's a strong possibility that Joe Hendry could be a big name in WWE for the main purpose of he has the it factor. There's something special about Joe Hendry that makes him stand out from everybody else. It's the song, it's the charisma, it's this, that happy-go-lucky type of guy that you just want to have a drink at the bar with. Joe Hendry is that guy. So the first reason I thought about is Joe Hendry has the it factor. The second thing is that Joe Hendry is willing to learn and listen. He's willing to take advice from those that have had many years of experience in professional wrestling. And now being signed to WWE, he gets to sit under the learning tree of Shawn Michaels in NXT, which right now, this is a great place for Joe Hendry to be right now before he gets to the main roster to see about what goes on behind the scenes, especially in producing matches. And he gets to talk to Shawn Michaels about that. And this is great because Joe Hendry is the type of guy that always wants to know more, always wants to be, passionate about the business of professional wrestling, because that is something that he always wanted to be a couple of years ago when he made the career transition from being a pop star to being a professional wrestler. So he's willing to listen and willing to learn from those that have had years of experience more than him. And the third possible reason that I thought of why WWE signed Joe Hendry is the fact that Joe Hendry is not just a character. Joe Hendry is not just a gimmick. Joe Hendry is a brand. Anytime when you hear the word Joe Hendry or the song Say His Name and He Appears, one of the main key words that I found is the word believe. The word believe has been something that has been attached to Joe Hendry on his journey to becoming a professional wrestler. He said that how he believed that at one point in his life, he will have a match at WrestleMania. But that belief, he had to keep practicing. He had to keep working at his craft to get to where he wants to go. And the fact that he believes in himself, and in the song Say His Name and He Appears, I believe in Joe Hendry, you could also flip that into saying you believe it in yourself, not to sound too cliche, but believe in yourself, to have that confidence in yourself that you could accomplish great things. And the other part to this is that WWE, with the machine that they have, they could create merch behind the Joe Hendry tagline. They already have it in some of the parts of WWEshop.com, and there's a lot more that WWE could come up with the taglines, with the brand of Joe Hendry. So that's the third reason that Joe Hendry is signed to WWE, because he's more than just a gimmick. He's more than just a character. He is a brand. And now I want to flip over to what took place at TNA from last week, Thursday. On the same day that Joe Hendry was signed to WWE, we get some interesting developments regarding Mike Santana and the TNA World Championship picture. We had a championship matchup of Mike Santana versus Ryan Nemeth for the TNA World Championship. This was the main event of this episode of TNA Pro Wrestling. However, even though the match only lasted 1 minute and 54 seconds, we got the appearance of an NXT invasion. That's right, the collaboration is still continuing, folks, of NXT and TNA. But this time, this NXT invasion, there was a group of guys alongside Robert Stone that came to attack Mike Santana. And here are the names of these guys: Lexis King, Stax, Brooks Jensen, Charlie Dempsey, the tag team called High Rise, and they, like I said, were led by Robert Stone as they beat down on Mike Santana, to the point that now we see the self-proclaimed king of TNA, Mr. Frankie Kazarian, who is also the Call Your Gauntlet winner from TNA Slammiversary. He is the Call Your Gauntlet winner. That is similar to the Money in the Bank. So here we see Frankie Kazarian coming in with the Call Your Gauntlet trophy as he wants to call his shot to get a championship opportunity against an injured Mike Santana. And the match begins, but the match only lasts 54 seconds, and after when Frankie Kazarian delivered a roll-up to Mike Santana, and 1, 2, 3, we have a new TNA World Champion in Frankie Kazarian after this very shocking development of an NXT invasion as they attacked none other than Mike Santana. But wait, that's not all. We now flip over to the following night, and this was a TNA exclusive special called TNA Turning Point, coming to you from Full Sail University, live from Orlando, Florida. And here was another interesting NXT invasion. This time, we did have a main event of Mike Santana and Steve Maclin versus Frankie Kazarian and Nick Nemeth. Yes, we did see Mike Santana and Steve Maclin get the victory in this tag team main event, but yet again, we get an NXT invasion as Robert Stone and his NXT thugs came down and beat down on everybody in the ring. The Hardy Boys came in to come to the aid of the TNA guys, but the numbers games was too strong as once again NXT stands tall in this invasion to beat down on Mike Santana, Frankie Kazarian, and everybody else that was in the ring. What is next with this situation here? We do have a new TNA World Champion in Frankie Kazarian, but then we still have these thugs running roughshod in TNA led by Robert Stone. Could there be another storyline angle regarding this NXT invasion? And what's next for Mike Santana? Will he be able to get back to title retention, to get back the TNA World Championship? There's a whole lot of possibilities. There's a whole lot of things that is happening. And I love this collaboration of TNA and NXT, especially with this now new storyline development. And now let's get back to NXT Gold Rush. But before I get to the analysis of what took place last night, I want to take you to a past DJ Kuzmo as he is reporting to you from the event, from the venue itself, from the theater at Madison Square Garden. So, DJ Kuzmo from the past, take it away.
Thanks, future DJ. And I am recording to you live from a bus stop, actually, because I tried to record live at the theater at Madison Square Garden. It was just a bit too noisy. But anyway, my voice is starting to die on me. I'm a little bit tipsy and my phone is about to die. But anyway, let me just quickly mention some things from my in-person experience going to my second NXT show. This is my second time going to the theater of Madison Square Garden, and I enjoyed the 2 episodes of NXT Gold Rush. I did witness Joe Hendry for the first time on NXT, but him and Thea Hale did not get the victory against Ethan Page and Chelsea Green for the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championships. I must also mention too that I purchased a ticket. It was $114. I had a really good view of the ring, very close, a couple of aisles back. Most specifically, I was in section 204, row F, seat 9. I thought that a ticket of that magnitude, which is kind of close to the ring, would have been probably like close to $200, $300, but I got a steal for $114, so that's good on my part. Also too, I did realize that the merch section, like to buy merch, there was a long line. There was a long line to buy merch before the show and even after when the show was over, because the show finished around like after 11. And I was not going to buy merch. I wanted to buy a new Joe Hendry shirt, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to save that for later on in the year, maybe towards the holidays. I could just buy it off of WWEshop.com. So I did not go to the merch table. Long line. Of course, you know, there's a long line for the bathroom, but they did give us free souvenirs, and that was 2 free towels, which says NXT Gold Rush. The towels is in yellow, so I have 2 of that as I'm walking home right now. We did see some surprises. I can't make any spoilers because some of the surprises will take place on the tape delay episode of NXT Gold Rush on the 25th. And with that being said, I'll take you back to Future DJ. So, shout out to Future DJ, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, past DJ Kuzmo, as now I'm recording a couple of hours later on, Wednesday morning. I'm still recovering from last night from NXT Gold Rush and seeing Joe Hendry for the first time on NXT in Madison Square Garden. And let's get to Gold Rush itself. But prior to the event, Joe Hendry had 2 appearances outside. The first appearance he had was with speaking with a longtime fan from Scotland. He mentions to Joe that he's been following his career since the early beginnings in 2016 and 2017 when Joe Hendry was wrestling in small venues, school gymnasiums with about 50 to 100 people in the stands. This fan also said to Joe that he flew from Scotland to New York City on Monday night just to see Joe Hendry at Madison Square Garden. That is what you call a longtime fan, a longtime supporter of Joe Hendry, and he still believes, and he got a chance to meet him before the show started. The other part of Joe Hendry being outside the streets of New York City is when he was standing outside of the theater at Madison Square Garden. Like literally, I missed it, Joe Hendry, about 13 minutes because this, I think, took place around after 6 o'clock, around like 6:09, 6:10. I was outside around like 6 o'clock, around 6:02, but I missed it, Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry was recording a quick promo outside of the theater of Madison Square Garden. He was talking about this was his first official t-shirt. That's right. Joe Hendry's first official t-shirt with NXT. It's a baby blue and it says, "I believe in Joe Hendry, say his name," and he appears. Joe Hendry thanks the fans for supporting him throughout all the years, and it is now official that he's in NXT with his first ever new merch. He also goes on to say that he's excited about his big tag team matchup with Thea Hale as he takes on both Chelsea Green and Ethan Page for the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championship. And speaking of the AAA Mixed Tag Team titles, let's get to the match that opened up the show of Joe Hendry and Thea Hale versus Chelsea Green and Ethan Page. This match lasted 10 minutes and 43 seconds, but as we fast forward to the tail of the match, we see Thea Hale positioning Chelsea Green into the Kimura lock as she's trying to force Chelsea Green to tap out, but at the same time, Joe Hendry is seen attempting to deliver a standing ovation chokeslam to Ethan Page. As he's positioning the chokeslam, we then see Ethan Page shoving Joe Hendry into Thea Hale to break up the Kimura lock and freeing Chelsea Green from it. But then we see the referee slightly distracted as both Joe Hendry and Ethan Page are seen lying at ringside. And apparently, Chelsea Green was not tagged in. We then see Chelsea Green going for a unprettier her to Thea Hale, and she goes for the cover, and 1, 2, 3, and still your AAA Mixed Tag Team Champions, Chelsea Green and Ethan Page. What is next for this new tag team of Joe Hendry and Thea Hale? Will they get another tag team title shot against the champions? Let's see what happens as this storyline continues, but congratulations to Joe Hendry as he's officially in WWE with his first ever merch, and then there's also some other things that are on the horizon for Joe Hendry, but I don't want to spoil it. You'll have to wait for the November 25th episode of NXT. I just want to quickly mention one more match from Week 1, Night 1 that was aired live, and that is in regards to the NXT and TNA collaboration, as this was for the NXT Tag Team Championships of Dark State, which of course is Dion Lennox and Osiris Griffin, as they took on the first time ever NXT and TNA combo tag team of Javon Evans of NXT and Leon Slater of TNA, who of course is the current X Division champion. The match lasted 11 minutes and 9 seconds as Dark State retained the NXT Tag Team Championships. But then, like always, if you always remember this, most importantly folks, if you continue to say their name in Thea Hale and Joe Hendry, they might just randomly appear. Always remember to believe, say his name. Always remember the words that Joe Hendry says anytime, any place, at any show. And most importantly, always remember to do this.
Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious.
Once again, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay using my friends. Believe and peace.
DJ, a couple things. I mean, there's so much to comment on, but I'll just use a couple things here. First of all, thank you. Number one, a tipsy version of your past self. I don't think that may be the first time, although my brain is saying to me, no, he's done this before. I think you maybe have done this before when you attended an event, but it's a very rare occurrence, I'll say that somebody is able to manifest their previous self that's also inebriated. So that's a rare occurrence here on the show. So I appreciate that. It's a rarity, though. Thank you. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. NXT Gold Rush. Sounds like you had a good time. I saw your seats, as I said, your merch. You're never going to not have a good time when you go to a wrestling event that's, especially an intimate one, as I said, a little bit smaller of a crowd, and you just enjoy pro wrestling. Thank you for the update about TNA and the new world champion. And yes, of course, Joe Hendry being signed officially to WWE. I mean, he is now, I would think that means he's on the main roster, although they haven't put him on TV yet in any kind of story. It could be coming at Survivor Series, could be coming later. Maybe they want to wait. I hope that whatever they do, they have a plan. It's not just, we'll put him out there, see how the crowd reacts. Now, with that said, I want to get to your point that you brought up at the beginning, where you said Joe Hendry is not just an entrance, he's a brand. Well, here's the problem. I don't agree with you that, I don't disagree with you that they want him to be a brand. The question is he yet a brand? I would say to the general viewer, the casual viewer, not one that is as intense and intimately involved as you, and that's a compliment to you, but I would say he's not yet a brand because he hasn't made his full roster debut, his main roster debut yet. He had his run in with Randy, biggest moment of his career. He's, he probably, it rings a bell with the casual viewer of like, oh, that's his name. Yeah. I've heard his music. So right now to most, he's an entrance. Right now to most, he is just kind of a, like I said, he is an entrance. He's a little bit one-dimensional to most casual fans because they even either haven't watched him fully wrestle or they only know his music because it is catchy and his entrance, which is extremely catchy. But I think a lot of them, including myself when I first saw him, got kind of, I guess, throwbacks, callbacks to Bobby Roode and his glorious entrance, which I mean, he's kind of just an entrance as well to a lot of people. He had a great entrance, great music, but that's kind of where it ended for Bobby Roode with the glorious and the robe and everything else. Great. I mean, it looked like $1 million and all the rest. But the problem was that's kind of all he did. He never really connected with the audience beyond that. And with Joe Hendry right now, I think to most, again, not all, he is an entrance and he needs to change that. He will become a brand when he can do more and show more to the general viewer, not the ones that have been watching him in NXT or TNA. Again, most haven't. I would say the casual viewer probably only pays attention to the main roster. And when he comes back to him, like, oh, wait, wasn't this the guy that faced Randy Orton, or didn't he appear in the Rumble last year? And that's kind of where most will end and go, that's right. Okay, that's that guy. So until he has a consistent presence on the main roster on television on a weekly basis, it's going to be difficult for fans to look beyond just, oh, he's an entrance. So I agree. He will be a brand, I hope. But at the moment, to the general viewer, I think he's still just an entrance. But to be fair, he hasn't had a real shot yet. So we'll see. But thank you, DJ. Thank you, past DJ. Any future DJs who are inebriated, thank you in advance. So, and everybody else, of course, Kay from Toronto, a bit short of a mailbag here. That's okay. Busy. We're all busy. And if you guys have, stuff that you want to put in this show, email me, mailbag@wwepodcast.com. Okay. That's where you go. That's where you send the stuff and send the good stuff there. All right. Mailbag@wwepodcast.com, and I will be able to read it. I'll be back on Sunday with your weekend review. Big show planned, as always, with, I'm sure, a lot that's going to happen tonight on SmackDown. And we'll be talking about it then. Of course, in between now and then, you have Amanda's SmackDown review. And we'll be in touch. Again, follow us on X at @wrestling_audio or WWE Podcast. And go to Patreon if you want to go ad-free. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to wwepodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.